Kempire is brought to you by. Do you know how important it is to rate and review a podcast? Rate and review the Kempire podcast today. 5 stars. Let us know what you love about the podcast. Rate and review the Kempire podcast on Apple Podcasts and on Spotify. Did you know that you can watch the Kempire channel on YouTube, Facebook, and on Twitter? Follow us on all of our platforms. More information on our YouTube, our Blue Sky, our Twitter, aka X, and more socials, and every way that you can support us will be available in the episode notes. You're listening to Kempire here on the Kempire Radio Network. Oh, y'all caught me dancing. Shout out to everyone watching on TikTok. Let me know, guys, if you can hear me, see me, all the things, okay? All right. Shout out to everyone in the live chat. Again, more details on Buttah will be available in the description, along with our Club Kempire membership, our Apple subscription membership. Shout out to our Club Kempire baddies that have already joined. You can get a free 3-day trial, also a part of your Apple podcast subscription. So if you want to see what we're doing over there at Club Kempire and Apple, go check it out. It's available right now for a limited time. The first 7 episode recap that I have of the White Lotus is also now available. Okay. I am going to do a recap on the season finale, but there's so much information. There's so much to unpack when it comes to the White Lotus. So I probably will do that live, and it'll be live. But for those that are going to watch the replay, you won't be able to watch the replay. Sorry, because I'm going to be uploading that to our podcast. So maybe if you're a member here, though, you'll be able to see, not maybe, you will be able to see that live recap. So anyway, shout out to all of you for being here. We don't normally have a live this afternoon, but we have some more stuff to talk about when it comes to Real Housewives of Atlanta. Kenya Moore is responding to Andy Cohen and his team over there at Sirius Radio when it comes to them reacting to what went down during this week's episode. A lot of you have still been reacting to the episode and still have a lot of thoughts and still have a lot of passion about, was Kenya wrong? Was Britt Edie wrong? Why didn't they fire Britt Edie? I've already weighed in multiple times. I will weigh in again. People are debating, was it revenge porn or was it something else? And first of all, I do want to emphasize Kenya has denied it being revenge P. She's also hasn't been sued. There haven't been any charges. And for all the people say, well, they couldn't bring. There has been nothing. Okay, so let's not continue the debate whether or not it was. There has not been a lawsuit. There have not been any charges. So that's null and void at this point. This is how many months later? Not to say that she couldn't if she wanted to later, but I'm just saying. None of that has happened. So let's stop litigating whether or not it was or not. What we can't litigate is that it happened. It definitely happened. It definitely was explicit photos. And if I attended this event, I would have been like, damn, like, why am I seeing this right now? And if that was you, because look, we're all grown. And no matter, there, especially in this day and age of where there are OnlyFans and there's a lot of stuff out there. Would you want, maybe you changed your life and maybe you don't, that's an old part of your life. And someone decides to share that at their grand opening. Anyways, we will get there. We will get there. Anyway, shout out to those of you watching on TikTok, those of you watching on Twitch, Twitter, Facebook, and of course, our YouTube community. Shout out to our King's Guard. Shout out to our channel members. We have a lot to unpack, but before we get to all of it, I forgot to upload a photo that I wanted to. Did you guys see the new trailer? Hold on. I need to upload this photo because did you guys see the trailer for NextGen NYC? As if they're going to try and turn this into a franchise. Oh, Lord. Let me just show this to you guys because I'm sure you probably saw the trailer for this, but I know what I will not be watching come whenever this is supposed to come. I forgot when they said it's coming out. Next month? I mean, the end of this month, I think, or something like that. I can't remember. I don't care because I know I won't be watching. All right. So let me show this to you guys. So the trailer for this new show that we've already been hearing about where Teresa's daughter's in it, Candy Burrs Tucker's daughter's in it, Riley, Brooks Marks is in it. It's so interesting to see people's reaction to Brooks Marks because no one liked him on Salt Lake City. And I think I think he thought, and I think Meredith thought, this would be a perfect opportunity. Seth is not able to film with me. Let's put Brooks in it. Brooks got so much backlash. You hadn't seen him really do any more confessionals on Real Housewives of Salt Lake City since. So I don't know who thought, yes, let's include him in this show. He's not likable. No one likes him. No one likes his vocal fry. Look, he doesn't have a personality. Okay? I know, Meredith. It's okay, Meredith. She's going to tell me this. Yeah, but Meredith, what about this? Hold on. Look. Hold on. Wait. Where's my favorite thing I love to play? I haven't played this in so long. Hold on. Got it.
Meredith can go herself. I'm done with her. Because I'm not a whore and I don't cheat on my husband. Her and a dumb family that poses. Why don't you own a house? Wait, you can't. Because your husband changes jobs every 5 minutes? Faye can marry he's a piece of I have your back and I'm offended by that. You that piece of garbage whore. I hate her. She's a whore. She's out the door. She can go herself.
Now let me tell you something. If Meredith Marks ever comes to my daytime talk show, Meredith, what do you like? How did you become friends with Lisa after she said all of this? And if Brooks came on the show too, I'm like, did you hear this about your mother? I'm playing.
Fuck your flowers.
Okay, so not only that, Damon Dash's daughter is in this as well. I don't know. I know a couple of the other people. First of all, if you watch the trailer, Candy's in the trailer. She's probably coming to visit Riley. She's not going to be in it all the time. Kim Zolciak is in the trailer. Here's the thing. A lot of people are saying these are Nepo babies. Maybe, but I consider Nepo babies people that come from families with money. The only person so far that I see on this cast with a family with money, again, I don't know everyone in the cast, but I see a lot of broke parents in this cast. Candy has money. Kim Zolciak don't have no money. Dame Dash money is funny. Oh, damn.
Fuck your flowers.
So nasty.
And that's what happened.
So rude.
First of all, when they mentioned this new show where basically housewives' children were going to be a part of it, I was just like, I already was not interested. And then after watching the trailer for NextGen NYC, I was like, even more not interested in watching this. But that's me. Maybe it's not made for me. Okay? Which is fine. T says Kim Z is poor. Mr. Melon said, Nepo where? The only Nepo baby here, and she's been a Nepo baby, is Riley. All right? Even Meredith's money is funny, allegedly. Like, we can't verify if Meredith has money or not. Okay? So, and again, I don't know all of the kids. Teresa's money's definitely fun. Teresa is poor. Sorry, Teresa. Okay, she's not. I'm not taking it back. Oh, she's all in the news these last couple of weeks. So it's not giving Nepo baby. I don't know what it's giving. I guess Nepo baby doesn't automatically mean that you're coming from parents with money. I think that's what it really supposed to be. But it's based off the nepotism, and their parents are notable people, and that's how they got a show, because other than that, we probably would not be interested in this show. I'm not watching it. I know normally I will give a show a chance, but maybe the show is not made for me. Okay? I would love to support Riley, because I think Riley has always had a personality. Ever since she was a little girl on Real Housewives of Atlanta, she's always had a big personality. She would always drag Candy. Okay? So I'm only kind of interested in her, but she barely was in the trailer. They showed a lot of Brooks Marks in the trailer, and I'm like, I don't care. I don't care about Brooks Marks and his reality show. He wasn't likable on Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. What makes us think that he's going to be likable now? Gia's on it. I see Gia's clapping back at Bethany on social media. Gia, you've never been likable. Ooh. I said what I said. She's never been likable. Jazz says Riley better be the lead. Not the way that trailer was put out. She doesn't come across as the lead. Brooks Marks comes across as the lead. We will see Meredith on it. We will see Candy on it. We will see Kim Z. Kim Z is just happy to be back in Bravo's good graces to be able to film. She's doing all kinds of... She's broke. I'm not laughing at her being broke, but I'm just saying. What is this show going to be about? What is this show going to be about? I know Pageant Mommy. Pageant Mommy says nepotism does not necessarily mean money. Rather, they have access because of their parents' family, and it applies in this case, but I'm not interested in watching any of these people. Well, I just corrected myself. I said, well, it's based off of the word nepotism, and these folks are getting a show because of their parents. But I think for a lot of people, they're thinking these Nepo babies, they're coming from money. Only a handful of these suckers got money. Again, I don't know all of the people that are in this picture. Some of them I know. Some of them I don't. Maybe they will be the stars. Maybe I will give it a watch. Will I? Maybe if nothing else is on, like Shonda Rhimes hasn't released something, I am completely bored. There's no breaking news. I don't have a friend to text or call or hang out with. There's no one online speaking. Basically, if another pandemic happens, maybe I'll watch it. Maybe. Anyway, so Bravo, you're welcome. NextGen NYC coming sometime near you. All right. In other news, I've been talking about, if you came to our New York City show, I talked about Ona Robinson Ahmed. She didn't marry that man. Well, Onaja, she is safe and sound, y'all. Come on. Onaja is safe and sound. Onaja, she went to Pakistan because she met this young man, 19-year-old. I don't know how old Onaja is, but she ain't 19. I don't think she's even in her 20s. Onaja went to Pakistan and caused an international upset. She caused an international upset. And I was very concerned for her. Then she left Pakistan after asking for $20,000 in land and $50,000. And now she's asking Donald Trump for $100 million. Yeah. She caused a ruckus in Pakistan. Then she went to Dubai, and everyone was like, is she okay? The rumor on the street was that Ona Robinson Ahmed, allegedly Ahmed, okay? This mailing message is reminding me, it's $20,000 a week or more. Well, Onaja did not go to jail. She spoke with TMZ this past week. You probably have seen so many videos of Onaja because she's back here in New York City. She's gotten a glow up. Her hair, makeup look fantastic. However, she's back to the eyebrows. She's back to, I think she's leaning into the popularity. She was just hanging out with, what's her name? Oh, damn. She was hanging out with this London rapper. I can't think of her name. Was it Steph London? I can't remember. It's okay. She was hanging out with her. Like, she is an international celebrity. So I wanted to give you an update and just a reminder to the YouTube gods. This playing of this video is it falls under copyright statute of fair use. Okay, so we will be stopping and going to break down some of the things that Onaja is saying.
Everyone's asking, where have you been? Well, come on the sidewalk.
Well, I'm glad to be back in New York. I'm glad about that. I'm happy about that, to be back in New York. And that's all I have to say.
Look at her glow up, y'all. Look at her glow. Onaja looks fantastic. Hair is laid. Brows are laid. Okay?
Rumors, if that's okay with you.
To say for right now, follow my coins, follow everything.
Wait, Onaja, we got to ask you.
Yes.
So we got to debunk some of these rumors if that's okay with you, right?
Yes, that's okay.
So we want to know, did you end up going to jail or was that not a thing? Like, because everyone's saying she went to jail, she's stuck in jail.
Well,
that was the rumor. The rumor was that Onaja had been arrested. She took that foolery that she was doing in Pakistan, which I was very concerned for her when she was in Pakistan. She took that foolery to Dubai and broke a lot of, Dubai don't play that. So a lot of people said that she was arrested. Okay?
Oh, listen, I didn't go to jail. I was just stuck in Dubai. It was a situation that happened in Dubai that I couldn't get over at the time.
I love the way that she says Dubai. She says Dubai. Okay.
And that was it.
How long were you there for?
I was there for a month.
Wow. After Pakistan.
I have a feeling she was arrested in Dubai. What was she doing for a month in Dubai and we didn't see her at all? We didn't see video, nothing of her in Dubai. I think she was arrested. Right? Come on. That doesn't make sense to me that we didn't see one video of her. We didn't even see her getting on the plane to come back to the States. Just saying.
Yes, I was.
Are you still in contact with anybody from Pakistan?
Yes, I am. My husband, he lives in Pakistan. Shout out.
She says her husband, y'all. Oh, and if you think it's a new guy, well, no.
Mohammed, I love him, baby. We are together.
We are together?
Wait, is this a different guy?
No, this is one guy. This is my husband.
So you met someone else?
No, this is my husband. Like that.
Didn't she also say when she was in Pakistan that she was pregnant with this man's baby? Didn't she say that? She don't look pregnant here in New York.
Mohammed. His last name Mustag is his mother's last name.
Wait, so how did you meet this guy? While you were out there?
No, we met actually on a romantic date. You know,
A romantic date? Okay, Onaja.
Basically, we met through the internet, basically.
Right. But is he in Pakistan?
Yes, he is.
No, so have you... Wait, okay, so when do you plan on going back?
You know, we're going to discuss that, but right now we all staying in New York soon.
Did you get the money? Did you get the land?
Listen, they go...
Wait, so her husband, allegedly, I don't believe Onaja. So her husband supposedly is coming to New York. Remember the story. For those that don't know the story, she went to Pakistan. She met this man in Pakistan on an app, okay, a dating app. He's 19 years old, showed up. The family was like, who is this woman? She refused to leave. The family ended up going into hiding. Then she started talking to the press. And then we had all these Onaja-isms since then, okay? And we could tell for those of us that are from New York, we were like, that's a New York girl through and through. Okay?
Give that land. They're going to give that land. They're going to give that 20K, that 50K out.
I love that.
I wonder what the people of Pakistan think of Onaja. Because remember, she had press conferences in Pakistan. Okay? She has press conferences in Pakistan. Tayyida says, Kempire, you got to keep up. She just came from Dubai. Come on.
Well,
that's it.
Because I know, like, you were online saying that. So did anyone give that to you? Were you able to raise anything?
Well, they was going to give me the 100K every week, but I left. So we're going to see what
they were going to give, in Pakistan, they were going to give her, I mean, look, they should. She brought a lot of attention, probably tourism, because a lot of people didn't think that she would be safe over there in Pakistan. And homegirl was safe and fine and having a good old time and having press conferences. Scherzer says it in my Nene voice, this is funny, okay?
Work on while I'm not there. I do have chips that have my face on it in Pakistan. I love you guys.
For real? In real life?
In real life.
You got a show?
I know we have people that watch in Pakistan. Are there coins with Ona Robinson, allegedly Ahmed's face? Is there? Because I want to know.
I miss you guys in Pakistan.
Can we see a movie on your life? Any projects that, like, you want to drop here?
Yes.
A movie? Who would play her? I already know. Countess Vaughn. Countess Vaughn should play her. Okay? I already said this before when Countess Vaughn mimicked her when she was going viral. I said, Saturday Night Live, you're missing out. You should be playing this out on Saturday Night Live and get Countess Vaughn to play her. And Countess Vaughn is an actress. And the way she was playing it on social media, I was like, she's perfect.
So there will be a movie in your life, maybe?
Yes, I will be having my own show out soon with my husband. Don't worry. Everything is exclusive. It's coming out. Add my coins. Thank you very much.
I love that. We got to get these coins.
Yes, add my coins. Later,
TMZ.
Thank
you. She said, later, TMZ. God bless her. God bless. Look, if she can make money off of this, good for her. I just look, she made it all the way to Pakistan and back, safe and sound. She almost caused an international incident, but she is safe and sound back here in New York. Okay. Samara says the audacity. Talking during the movie says, is she teasing us? No, I don't think so. Ultra Violet says she's adorable. Like, she doesn't mean any harm. I just worry about the people that are trying to clout chase off of her. And there are plenty of people that are willing to do that. I think she probably was safer in Pakistan than here in New York, to be honest with you. But anyway. Okay, guys, if you haven't already, be sure to like the video. It's an easy and free way of supporting not just my channel, but other channels as well. And don't forget to subscribe. And don't forget to share your thoughts and opinions if you're part of the replay crew on any of the hot topics that we are discussing this afternoon. As you can see here on the channel, we don't just talk about Housewives, but we're going to get back to talking about Housewives. Yesterday, we recapped the Real Housewives of Atlanta's latest episode. I was hoping to see the ratings before we went live, but I have not seen the ratings for this week's episode. As you know, we've seen a steady decline in both the live ratings and the demographic for Real Housewives of Atlanta, which is concerning. However, I always give you the disclaimer. Although we're seeing live ratings drop, we're seeing that across the board when it comes to reality television. In general, a lot more people are now investing in just streaming and as opposed to watching things live. Fine. Okay. However, as I said to you before, I don't know if I believe that, especially when I hear from multiple sources that Bravo behind the scenes are a little concerned. Who went to my London show? Who remembers the tea that I dropped about Nene? I'm just going to put that out there. I was going to put that out there. Okay. All right, Virgo's Groove. Here's the thing. When I say something to you guys, I also follow it up by saying I understand what nepotism means. I am also a college graduate. I also read. I also understand what words mean. But I'm thinking the average person, when they think of Nepo babies, they're thinking, well, this is a child that comes from money and influence. We understand it's not just money. I just find it interesting that we see a pattern with these Nepo babies on this new reality show. A lot of their parents are broke. Just saying. But we get it. You're a Virgo. You got it correct. But we've moved on. Real Housewives of Atlanta. So I don't know if you guys have seen it. Okay, before we even get to that, yesterday we recapped Married to Medicine. If you watched my recap of Married to Medicine, then you saw that I was so disinterested. Okay. Thank you so much, Emily. Emily is watching on TikTok. She says, Juicy Scooper, love you with Heather. Yeah, shout out to Heather McDonald. I've been on there a couple of times, and I will be back when I get back to LA. All right. So, Can't Be Bothered says, who was in London? Share the tea. Okay, I'll tell you guys this before we get to this story. When I was in London, I dropped the tea. Now you've probably seen it multiple times. Now that it's gone viral with the cast of The Traitors, I told the London crew, the London audience, that word on the street is that Nene is going to be on Traitors. And now I'm hearing from more sources that is true. I'm also hearing interesting things about Andy Cohen and his future with the network. And then I said to myself, this is pure speculation. Well, that would make sense because, Andy usually hosts the Traitors reunion. And if he's gone and Nene's on Traitors for season 4, does that mean that Nene will return to Real Housewives of Atlanta? What I'm hearing, that is not on the table right now. From what I'm hearing, that is not on the table. But Traitors, again, I've told you, this is not just one source. These sources that I've heard this from are from different areas. So I'm like, oh. But if you went to the London show, y'all know. That's why I'm glad I said something during the London show. So y'all know I said that back in December. Okay? But I also told you what we saw with season 3. There were a lot of people that dropped out of season 3 last minute because, contracts. But I'm still hearing her name is a part of season 4 of The Traitors. Nene's back in the fold. Nene's back in the... How do you feel about that? I think it's going to be funny and entertaining. Okay? I definitely think it's going to be funny and entertaining. And I know some of you, since we're talking about Kenya, word on the street, she was supposed to be a part. Remember, she accidentally posted, I guess she was at a meeting for Traitors, and she posted it on her Instagram story. But remember, the filming for Real Housewives of Atlanta conflicted, so she couldn't do it, word on the street. Word on the street is she would love to do season 4, but they're not interested. That's the word on the street. Whose street? Not my street. But that's the word on the street. Clearly, she wants to be interested. And maybe the reason why Kenya is saying the things that she's saying today is because she knows that the door is closed. Ew, the door is closed. That's what I'm hearing. So the crash out that we're seeing on social media, Kenya, don't crash out, girl. You got a lot of people that want you to win. Don't crash out yet. Don't burn every bridge yet. Amy says, wait, what are you sipping on? Water. All I drink is water, y'all. Maybe some kombucha every once in a while. Maybe a sip of, I really don't love soda like I used to as a kid. It's mostly water. This is water. I promise you, future husband, I don't sip like that. I have class. When we go to hang out with your other billionaires, I have class. Hey. All right. So that was some tea that I wanted to share with you guys. Clip and do that what you will. Nene Leakes will be a part of season 4 of The Traitors. That's the word on the street. Again, things can change last minute. You never know. Okay? The same when it goes to Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. So before we get back to Real Housewives of Atlanta, the part 2 of the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills reunion airs tonight. I have a very busy day tomorrow. Let me know if you guys are cool if I go live this evening, like 9:15, 9:30, to recap it. Like right after. Let me know if y'all are cool with that and it's not past your bedtimes. If not, y'all can watch the replay. I have a very busy day tomorrow. I have appointments and things like that. And I got, things to take care of. Judy said, that's fine. Judy's in LA, y'all. That's what, 6:15 for her. Tamika says, no, it's my bedtime. Well, Tamika, watch the replay. Okay. All right. Anthony says, Nene and Kenya should team up and do a podcast. We'll be fired. It wouldn't work. And it should work. A Nene and Kenya podcast, because I've thought about that. I think just their personalities just would not mesh well for a long period of time. And we already see, has episode 2 of the Nene Leakes show come out yet? Just asking. Has that come out yet? Because that would be iconic. Us with actual business minds would be like, well, yeah, let's do that. That would make sense. That would bring in, people would love to hear us talk, and because they would have such different personalities and opinions. But here we go. That's not going to happen. All right. Amy says, we're still waiting on episode 2 of the Nene Leakes show. A month later. Oh, Nene. Okay. All right. Cindy says, no more podcasts, please. Like, I'm not against more podcasts if they make sense. If the people that are doing it are passionate about it. But it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. All right, let's move on. Let's get to the Kenya of it all. Before we do that, Dr. Heavenly decided to weigh in on what Kenya Moore did. So for those that have been under a rock, in the last episode of The Real Housewives of Atlanta, Kenya Moore shared some very intimate photos. You literally hear, what's her name? Cynthia, say exactly what Kenya shared. And that was a very explicit photo of Britt Eady with something in her mouth, a genitalia in her mouth. Okay? Along with a lot of other stuff that Kenya shared. Things about her business, things about her surgery, all of that. So a lot of people have been still weighing in with their opinions on Bravo did Kenya dirty. Production did Kenya dirty. There are even people still speculating that production knew about the poster boards. And I get why people might think that, but I promise you, I don't think so. We have to remember, this filming was happening right after Bravo, NBC Universal, told these third-party production companies to update their policy and procedures. This was in the middle of the reality TV reckoning. They were not trying to get involved in any of this. So, when it's necessary when it comes to production, I'm like, that looks like production dropped the ball. I don't think so. I think this was solely on Kenya. I really believe this was solely on Kenya. Okay? All right. So, Dr. Heavenly decided to weigh in because, Dr. Heavenly has her own thing. So she compared what happens on her show to what happened with Real Housewives of Atlanta star Kenya Moore. And this is what she had to say.
Don't quote me on that one. Don't at me. Okay. But I just felt like, but then don't listen to me because I can see shit that Kenya did wrong. So don't listen to me because I'm the wrong bitch to listen to. So because I still to this day thought that was iconic, but I'm wrong. I'm sorry. Don't quote me on that one.
She said it was iconic what Kenya did. I think even if you're Team Twirl, you're not saying what Kenya did was iconic.
Don't at me. Okay. But I just felt like, I be feeling like if it was so wrong, don't show it. That's my thought. But anyway, who am I?
Well, that part, that's one part of what she said. I was sort of like, If it's wrong, Bravo, why are we showing it? Why are we including it? This all happened at the top of the season. They were 3 weeks into filming. Again, it's just another sign and symptom to me that what you have for the rest of the season is not that great. You also decided during the cast trip to bring Phaedra back. So I was sort of like, okay, y'all must not have a great season if you had to keep this in and receive the backlash, the amount of backlash that they're receiving, and your ratings are not it's not even worth the ratings at this particular point. It's not making sense. But I have to agree, damn it. I got to agree with Heavenly. Like, if it was so bad, why are you showing it?
That's my thought. But anyway, who am I? Okay. But I just felt like, no, I be feeling like if it was so wrong, don't show it. That's my thought. But anyway, who am I? Who am I?
Who are you, Dr. Heavenly? So Dr. Heavenly says that she felt like what Kenya did was iconic. I don't think even the Team Twirl fans, even the people that are justifying and saying, well, you saw what Britt Edie did. And I had to rewatch the interview that Kenya did recently with Tamron Hall, where she basically confirmed, like, this is what she did. And she said in that interview, I'm taking accountability for what she did. But she also said that she didn't feel protected by the network. She says in that interview that she did go to the network about what Britt Edie said. And she said, I almost completely forgot about this. I'm glad I rewatched it. She says that she felt like the network and production were gaslighting her like she's some sort of black Karen. And I said to myself, like, well, here's the thing, Kenya. If that is true, you took the wrong route. Especially when we talk about, human resources, you took the wrong route. If they were gaslighting you, if you felt like you weren't protected, what you do is not retaliation. What you do is you get your lawyers involved. That's what you do. If you felt like they weren't protecting you, like they weren't believing you, literally, if anyone, I can understand the other women not understanding what's going on because they can't hear everything. Production hears everything. They're recording everything. They're listening back to everything. So they definitely knew what Britt Edie said. And the minute you said that she said this and you felt threatened, they can go back to the tape. So that's where I will blame production and the network for dropping the ball on how that was handled. Sidebar, Kelly, when they replay that situation, why were you drunk? Because Kelly was just like, ha, 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 ha. Mind you, Britt is like all heated and and talking about pistols and whips. And Kelly's like, yeah, I'm like, what is wrong with Kelly? What is wrong with Kelly? Girl, calm down. Okay? So anyway, and I'll say this again for those that may be new here. I still believe what Britt Edie did was wrong and it should have been handled. According to Andy Cohen on Watch What Happens Live, when Cynthia Bailey was there, he says that there were 2 investigations into what Britt Edie did and said, and also what happened subsequently with Kenya Moore. So on Andy Cohen's on his Sirius Radio program, he and his co-host discussed The Real Housewives of Atlanta, its latest episode. So let's take a listen to that. I'm going to be, again, YouTube, copyright laws, under fair use. We are breaking this down for research and commentary. Okay? Check the disclaimer in the description. All right. So let's break this down.
What happened is that Britt made a comment at the end of last week's episode, like, I have a gun and a whip, or something like that.
And pause, as always, what we do, we cite our sources. Shout out to our friends over the Bravo Shade Room who caught this.
All that.
And on this week's episode, they all said to Britt that you can't say that shit. And she was like, yeah, you're right, whatever. She shows up to Kenya's opening of her gorgeous salon, which is beautiful, that Kenya has worked so hard on, that she dedicated to her daughter. And it's this big event, opening it with all these people there. And Britt comes in and brings her flowers and says, I want to apologize to you, and a note. And Kenya totally ignores her, like totally. And Britt's like, okay, I'm just going to leave these here. And Britt leaves. And then Kenya gets up and makes her whole opening about someone came after me and they shouldn't have. And I started looking into who this woman is, and this is who she is. And she starts showing pictures of her.
With like poster board that she printed out.
And this is like
one of the pictures is
revenge
her.
porn type.
Yes.
Okay.
I didn't get to listen to this full episode, so I don't know if Andy ever addressed whether or not, because a lot of people have been blaming production and saying that, they had something to do with those poster boards. Some people had originally said before we even saw the episode that they believe that production were the ones to find out this information, create the poster boards, and give this to Kenya. I don't know if he addressed that in this particular episode, but I think that he should. That is a liability.
The pictures is her
oral sexing.
Yeah. And so, and the Atlanta housewives are like, we're out. We don't want any, the place like clears out.
Yeah.
And then there's and Cynthia said, in all my time at the show, this is the lowest I've ever seen anything get. And so that's what, and then there's a slide at the end of the show that says, Bravo, stop filming with Kenya after this.
Yeah. Well, they say there's all this talk of, after the Me Too movement, it's like if you show someone a dick pic or a nude pic without them saying, yes, I would like to see that right now, that's like sexual assault.
And that's where Kenya Moore decided today to respond in regards to what Andy's co-host had to say in regards to associating what she did to SA.
Jordan?
Well, I was going to say, the bad part of it and the sad part of it was that, like you said, it was Kenya's opening of her store that she's worked so hard for, and that it's been Kenya Moore hair care for years.
Yes.
And it was like a big moment for her.
Why did she do that?
She should have been celebrating herself, but instead she used the time to do revenge porn and bring somebody else down. And at the end of the day, it was such a bad look for Kenya.
Yeah, why would
and
she do
she
that?
sabotaged herself and her business.
Yeah. What was she thinking?
Jody from Minneapolis, what did you think?
You know how Andy doesn't want to weigh in his thoughts and opinions. Remember, word on the street, when Kenya was doing a lot of these interviews recently, she said that she's in communication with Andy, and Andy has confirmed that he has been in communication with Kenya. I think Andy plays the middle very well with these housewives, because he tries to play like he's the friend, but he's also the boss. And that's a very tricky position to play. So he's not going to share too much in regards to his own opinion on the situation. But also, he's also a Bravo executive.
Hi. Also, I'm just so proud of Bravo and how they handled it, and all the housewives that left after Kenya showed it. It was so trashy, and it was so negative and ugly. And I don't know, I think a few years ago, not all the wives would have left after that, but I'm really proud that they all left. And, Britt making that comment about the guns and whips, I don't know, I didn't feel like it was totally like, I'm going to go kill you, Kenya. I think it was just...
Here's the thing. When I first heard about the pistol conversation with Britt, I was like, Because remember, it kind of came out that, there were these threats out there. And I was like, are people just putting that out there? But no, what we saw from Britt Eady, first of all, and look, and I get it. You got your team, Kenya people, your team, Britt people? Who's the team? Who's Team Pistol? Because I'm like, okay. I mean, she's very new. That's why I'm sort of like, who's team whatever? But when we heard that, what we saw from Britt Eady, yes, we saw the comment from Kenya at Shamia's birthday party. But it wasn't enough for Britt Eady in every scene that she had from that episode till now to bring up, I didn't like the way that Kenya spoke to me at Shamia's birthday party. And I'm like, why are we still talking about that? Why is that still an issue? Unless there's something that we didn't see. But according to the streets, there isn't anything there. So we saw in that moment during the Angela's dinner that Kenya gave her a little bit, and then Kenya was like, I'm not arguing with you. I'm not continuing. And Britt went off. And I think Britt got frustrated because she wanted to have a moment. Britt wanted to have a moment, and Kenya was not going to engage with her. So I think that made her even more frustrated, along with other stuff. Because I don't know, the amount of rage that came from Britt in that moment, I would have been uncomfortable too. Because remember, it wasn't even just Britt saying that. Britt was talking about whips, pistols, and her husband was there. And you already know he already got the screw face on too. So and I know Kenya wasn't probably necessarily scared. She looked uncomfortable though. And that's why she got in Portia's car. I don't care if you like Kenya, you don't like Kenya. I could sense she looked uncomfortable. But I could also sense at Kenya's event, when she decided to show all those things and she saw the audience reaction, but mostly her cast reaction, probably also production's reaction, because word on the street, production was like, what? That's the word on the street. Whose street? Not mine. I don't live in those streets. I just keep my ear to the street. And I think once Kenya saw the cast reaction and you saw what Cynthia said to her, that's when she sort of was like, oh, shoot, I may have miscalculated this. And she did. But she had to, in that moment, double down on it and make herself seem like it was right. Tanya says that the funky face husband was lurking around the venue. Yeah, because eventually we saw him come out and we were like, what the hell? And she kept on going off. Britt kept on going off even after. If someone's not speaking to you, like Kenya has done a lot over the years. If someone isn't speaking to you and you're still going off, talking about pistols and you're talking about whips, why whips? Why you got whips? But anyway, all the conversation. And you're still going off as it didn't make sense to me. It didn't make sense to me. So that is what Andy said on his platform. Kenya decided to respond I believe she responded in our friends over at the Bravo Shade Room's comment section. And this was her response. She says the two co-hosts, damn, is that shade? Two co-hosts are extremely ignorant. SA is grape. Changing the words, but if you're watching this, you can see what she actually said. Remember, that's what Phaedra accused Candy of attempting to do to Portia. Well, in all fairness, Kenya, SA isn't just grape. There are a few examples. We won't go through all the examples, but that is not just, that doesn't only fall under grape. Okay? So she said, remember, that's what Phaedra accused Candy of attempting to do to Portia. And then she says, revenge corn? If someone showed Kim K's S tape to you, is that revenge corn? Question mark. I found that plus tons others online. She signed a release for it, so it's a fair, quote, receipt, she puts in capitals. Okay, I'm going to just keep going. She says, warning, if you are not an attorney and familiar with Georgia law, then shut the F up. Okay. She says, sick of the bias and selective outrage. These comments should have not aired in regards to what happened on Andy's Sirius radio. She said, these comments should have not aired. It's a podcast. Where is legal? Even in written language, she's funny. I'm sorry. Come on. Can we laugh a little bit? Can we giggle a little bit? Can we giggle a little bit? No. Oh, those stick in the muds. All right. She says, I'm sick of the bias and selective outrage. These comments should have not aired. It's a podcast. Where's legal? You don't want activated Kenya. I shouldn't have shown at my event, but for the love of God, why would they ignore a clear pow, pow, pow threat? Well, Kenya, here's the thing, though. If they ignored a threat, you have options, legal options. Why didn't you seek those options? Why haven't you since seeked those options? Because it's literally, now they can't take it back. Because remember, there was a rumor that she was seeking legal options and possibly going to sue the network. I heard from sources that was true, allegedly. But I don't understand. Even before it got to your event, why even allow Britt Eady to come to your event if you didn't feel safe? Why even allow her? But let me play devil's advocate. Maybe she felt pressure from production in the network. This is an all-cast event. You want your spa shown. I'm not saying that's what they said. I'm just saying we have to kind of give you a full scope of why because people always say, why are these people signing on to do reality television and then complaining about it later? Well, there are mechanisms for enticing these people to continue to be in this crazy cycle of reality television. I'm not saying that's what happened here. What I'm saying is that could be a possibility. So she says, sick of the bias and selective outrage. These comments should have not aired. It's a podcast. Where is legal? You don't want activated Kenya. Was activated Kenya the same person that showed up at her spa event and showed what she showed? Is that the same activated Kenya? Because if that's the activated Kenya, no. Please. She said, I shouldn't have shown. Well, at least she's owning this. She said, I shouldn't have shown at my event, but for the love of God, why would they ignore a clear pow, pow, pow threat? let's rewind and go back up to the other part of what she said here. I don't want to litigate. I said this at the beginning. I'm going to say it again. I don't want to litigate if this was revenge porn or not. I don't want to litigate that. Again, we're not attorneys. Every state handles revenge porn differently. However, was it inappropriate for her to show at her event? First of all, it was inappropriate for her to show. Even more inappropriate to show at your grand opening. Because the problem here, Kenya, I don't think that you're understanding. If I'm coming to your grand opening, I should not be shown pornography without my consent. That is this. I'm not saying that it was SA. What I'm saying is that without my consent, you should not be forcing that on my eyes or anyone else's. Point blank, period. No one knew that they were going to see this. So she says, warning, if you are not an attorney and familiar with Georgia law, then shut the F up. Sick of the bias and selective outrage. These comments should have not aired. It's a podcast. Where is legal? Anyway. So as I said to you before, there have been a lot of people sharing their thoughts and opinions on if it was revenge porn. Like I said before, I don't think we need to even get into that because no charges have been filed against Kenya. She has not been sued. I don't think that Britt Eady will sue. There was a rumor that Britt Eady went to the network and threatened to sue because of this. We shall see, because we're going to see the aftermath this week. A lot of you said this was the season finale for you, this last episode. We will be watching. I will let you guys know here on the channel if there are threats of legal action from Britt Eady. Okay? All right. Let me say thank you because we had quite a few super chats. But if you are a member of the channel, I did drop the call-in link on the community tab. Apparently, the members, you guys are on high alert because the backstage is already lit. All right. All right. Let me say thank you because we had a few super chats. And again, guys, I will drop the call link for the general audience. Keep liking the video. Let's get to at least 1,000 likes, and I will drop the call link for the general audience. Nicole, thank you so much for the super chat and for being a member. Nicole says, Riley, my wallet is bigger than yours, poor Reed. Oh, my Lord. In regards to the new Nepo Baby show that's coming on Bravo. Scarlett, thank you for being a member for the super chat. She says, Onija is a BK girl through and through. J.I., thank you so much for the super chat. Maybe plastic surgery and recovery like Nene. Wait, maybe plastic surgery and recovery like Nene? Are you saying that she had plastic surgery and that's why we haven't gotten a new episode of the Nene Leak show? Crystal, yes, we talked about this before, but thank you for the reminder. Crystal says Jesse Wu said it was Ming Lee that gave Kenya this information on Britt Eady. You saw Ming Lee at the Kenya Moore Hair Care Spa grand opening as well. Remember, the word on the street, she was being considered for Real Housewives of Atlanta as well. Jay Marie, thank you so much for the super chat and for being a member. What happened to the insurance fraud poster board? That surfaced on the internet last year when this first happened. I think they just edited that part out. There were multiple poster boards. I still have the picture of the insurance fraud poster board. So that definitely was true. Scarlett, thank you so much for another super chat. Scarlett says, production has no control over Kenya's actions, but they could have definitely halted the scene, stopped filming, and had a combo with Kenya in the moment. All of that. I think for production, I think for them, they have such a weird line of we got to capture everything, but at the same time, forget that it's a work environment. So I don't know. NYC DMP, thank you so much for the super chat and for being a member. There are more important things to discuss. Married to Medicine, do better to talk. You're right. She took the wrong route. And it was obvious to us all. Love and gratitude. Thank you so much, NYC DMP, for the super chat. Bonnie, thank you so much for the super chat. Bonnie says, I didn't even know Andy had his flop. I wasn't ready for that. Bonnie says, I didn't even know Andy had his flop podcast. It's not a podcast. He has a podcast for Watch What Happens Live, but he also has Sirius Radio. He has his own network on Sirius Radio. I'm surprised that Sirius Radio is still around because I just don't see a lot of people having Sirius Radio. There are people, clearly, because it's still been around, but I just I didn't realize that people still have Sirius Radio, but he does have a network on Sirius Radio called Radio Andy. She says, only hearing about it as he talked about Kenya is interesting. Thank you for the super chat, Bonnie. Amina, thank you so much for the super chat. Amina says, Britt did not leave. She was outside waiting. I think production told her to wait since they knew what Kenya planned to do. That's a stretch. Because here's the thing. I think Britt left because she was also waiting for Kelly. Because remember, she arrived with Kelly. So, I mean, look, do I think production is guilty of a lot over the years? Yes. I just don't think so here. I think people are trying to put it on production to take blame off of Kenya. Kenya is a grown woman. And in all of the interviews that Kenya has done, she has not said that production gave her that information or knew about that information. Unless the activated Kenya is going to tell us that next. But I don't think she would do that because she knows that would be a big issue for her. Keith, thank you so much for the super chat. Keith says your self-esteem has to be below Earth's crust for someone not hugging you to trigger you this much. She was looking for a reason to have a problem in regards to Britt Edie. Agreed. She'd been looking for a problem. Like she kept on bringing it up in every scene. I was like, what is going on here, Britt? What did Kenya do? Cena, thank you so much for the super chat. Cena says, bravo, bravo, bravo. In no way you can mention a pow, pow, pow in a work environment. Not only would you get fired, but you might get a court case. I'm Canadian and the white people don't play like that. I mean, we've talked about this endlessly. Like at this particular point, I'm just tired of saying it because people keep trying to equate everything in regards to forgetting that this is a work environment. So what Britt Edie did was wrong, but so what Kenya did in retaliation was wrong. Miss Esquire, thank you so much for the super chat and for being a member. Miss Esquire says, what is legal is the floor. Ask yourself what is moral and ethical. Let that be your standard. And accusing your poor behavior by comparing it to another is a race to the bottom. Oh, not a race to the bottom, Miss Esquire. That was a read. See, I'm never going to fight with a Virgo. Just saying. Candy, thank you so much. Candy Kane, thank you so much for the super chat. Candy Kane says, Kenya was tipsy. Once she started down that rabbit hole, she could not stop. Liquor was speaking for her. And if you watched the episode, then you saw that they kept on showing Kenya taking shots. And if you look at Kenya's face, like, Kenya wasn't there. And again, this is not me trying to make excuses for Kenya, but it's just the facts of what I'm seeing in these scenes. Thank you, Candy Kane, for the super chat. Thank you, guys. We're almost at 1,000 likes. Once we get to 1,000 likes, I will drop the call-in link for you guys. But we have quite a few members already backstage that want to weigh in on this update. Kenya Moore is responding to Andy Cohen and his co-host, in quotes, as she put it. She's responding to what they had to say about what played out on the latest episode of Real Housewives of Atlanta. Rahina, thank you so much for the super chat, Rahina. Rahina says, Kempire, thank you so much for my cameo. Love, 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 love. Also, can you imagine I'm flying back from Antigua on my birthday? We will have to continue to celebrate the rest of the month. You are the best. Happy birthday, Rahina. I love that your husband got you that for your birthday. I spilled a little tea in her cameo too. You just never know. Book me on Cameo. All right. Mama Ali said, and thank you so much for being a King's Guard, a channel member, and also for the super chat. She says, both women were wrong, period. And I think people find that hard to say. Not our community. Our community are fair. But I think a lot of fans find it hard to say that both people were wrong. But I also put it out there because, I like to twerk on a fence. I said, well, maybe if they had resolved the Britt Edie pow, pow, pow situation, it would have never escalated to what it escalated to. I mean, one will never know. Thanks for tuning in to Kempire here on the Kempire Radio podcast. As always, don't forget to give us a 5-star rating on Apple Podcasts and on Spotify. And for everything Kempire Radio, head on over to KempireRadio.com.